have your attention, please, and we'll begin. Any of you who do not know me, I'm Larry Stoner. I'm the mayor of the city of Monticello, and it's my privilege to be the master of ceremony for today's rededication. Good morning and welcome to all of you in attendance this morning as we honor the memory of Private First Class Robert Burke in the rededication and reopening of this beautiful new PFC Robert C. Burke Memorial Park. The improvements made to this site include a walking path, new landscaping of over 600 trees and plantings, new lighting, a new playground, an amphitheater with stone seating that's going to be right over there. It's not quite done yet. Shelters, a relocated gazebo originally constructed by the Lions Club, a lighted basketball court, can you hear me better now? Lighted basketball court, 4 lighted pickleball courts, a lighted tennis court, additional parking areas, a bus drop-off area, a pedestrian crosswalk, new park signage, a memorial plaza with a PFC Robert C. Burke memorial panel, PFC Robert C. Burke biographical panels and seating, and new bicycle racks designed and constructed by the Monticello High School Industrial Arts class. Thank you to the Reverend Paul Spangler, Lindsay Coleman, 3rd Battalion, 23rd Marines, Monticello Joint Honor Guard, Regan Deering, Nick Nichols, Seth Floyd, Frederick Curtis Stubbe, Sally Turner, Major Alex Irion, Richard L. Pittman, Marine Corps League, Savoy Fire Department, Monticello Fire and Rescue Department, Kirby Ambulance Service, Marilyn Burke Spurlock, and the entire Burke family. At this time, I would like to call on the Pastor Paul Spangler from the First Presbyterian Church in Monticello to give us the invocation.
Thank you. It is an honor to be here. Please join with me in prayer. Almighty God, we gather today to rededicate this park, a place that has served our community for many years. We thank you for the beauty of this space, for the trees, the playground, the courts, and all the opportunities it offers for recreation and connection. We dedicate this park anew to the well-being of our community, a place where children can play, families can gather, and individuals can find peace and renewal. For it was out of a local family you called a son to serve and to give his life for his country and for his fellow soldiers. In your likeness, Robert C. Burke gave his life for his friends. We thank you for the millions of Americans who, like Robert, have not faltered at duty's call. We remember especially those who gave their last full measure. May we remember our heroes like Robert C. Burke, proven in liberating strife, who more than self, their country loved. As we honor him, we pray that this park will be a source of joy and delight, a space where friendships flourish and memories are made. Thank you also for all those who work to make this day happen. Bless this park and all who use it with your presence, peace, and abundance. May this rededication mark a new chapter for this park, a symbol of our commitment to fostering a vibrant and connected community. We ask this and pray in your holy name. Amen.
If you are able at this time, please rise for the presentation of colors by the 3rd Battalion, 23rd Marines. At this time, I call Lindsay Coleman to sing the Star Spangled Banner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
At this time, I call, please have a seat. At this time, I call Rita Deering, State Representative from the 88th District, to come and share his applause.
Good morning to all of you, and thank you so much for joining us on this very special day. I come as State Representative for the 88th House District, which includes all of Piatt County. So it's my honor to join you here today on behalf of the 104th General Assembly. I bring with me a certificate of recognition not only to the city of Monticello for the beautiful enhancements and rededication of this park, but also to the family of PFC Burke, as it is quite a testament to his legacy to see so many of you here today and celebrating. So thank you for joining us, and I appreciate all of you.
I call Nick Nichols, Post Commander, Hamburg, American Legion Post 101.
Good morning. I'm Nick Nichols, Commander of Hamburg, American Legion Post 101 of Monticello. I as well served in Vietnam the same time Robert Burke did. I was assigned to the Army's 52nd Signal Battalion in the Mekong Delta. Even though all of us serving in Vietnam were in harm's way, I do not profess that my duties, level of danger, or hardships matched those of Company I, 3rd Battalion, 27th Marines, and of PFC Burkes. They did not. But I was proud to perform my duties to the best of my abilities. Moving to Monticello 9 years ago, I heard about PFC Burke, but not until the 50th anniversary in 2018 of his death that I learned the details of his heroic and gallant actions on that fateful day in May of 1968. Not many 18 or 19-year-olds could or would do what he did for his fellow Marines and his country. On panel 61E, at the end of line 24, Robert C. Burke's name is etched on that stark, black, granite wall of the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, D.C., along with 58,320 American servicemen and women who made the ultimate sacrifice for their country. In Monticello, Robert's name is forever etched in our hearts. For every year, our Legion and VFW post proudly sponsor the PFC Robert C. Burke Memorial Scholarship, which we award to 3 Monticello High School graduating seniors to honor our fallen comrade. At the Senior Honors Award Ceremony, as the Burke Chairman, I see it my responsibility to remind or inform the graduating seniors and their families the account of PFC Robert C. Burke's heroics and gallant actions. A story that I believe must be told. Robert Burke was just a kid from a small town, Monticello, but he made a monumental difference to so many lives at such a young age. His intrepid actions and courage rightfully earned him our country's highest honor. Let's look back when Robert volunteered and served as a Marine. Our country was in tumultuous times. Just a few years earlier, our president was assassinated in Dallas, Texas. There were an abundance of anti-war protests, civil rights marches. Martin Luther King Jr. and Robert F. Kennedy were both assassinated within 63 days of each other. There was a growing skepticism in our country of our government and in authority in general. For many draft-age men, it was confusing, unsettling, and to some even terrifying. It is estimated that 50,000 draft-age men fled to Canada to avoid serving their country. But Robert Burke, like all proud Marines, soldiers, sailors, and airmen, raised their right hand to take the oath to support and defend the Constitution, to bear true faith and allegiance to the United States, and to faithfully discharge their duties to the best of their ability. There is no one here today that will question whether PFC Burke took his oath seriously. A few years ago, one of Robert's Monticello friends, Lee Tipsworth, an Air Force veteran himself, passed away. Sometime later, Lee's wife came upon some mementos that Lee had kept stored away. One item was a letter that Robert wrote to Lee while he was in Vietnam, about 3 months before he was killed. For those of us who never knew Robert, I'd like to read that letter to provide a little insight on the type of man his family and community raised. Hi Lee, how are you and your family? I am feeling pretty good. I am a little tired. Lee, I will tell you things in my letters that I don't want you to tell Mom. I have told Mom that I am in the motor transport and working on trucks in the rear. I only told her that so she wouldn't worry so much. The truth is, they were short on machine gunners at the time, so that is what I'm in. I'm writing this letter while sitting in the foxhole with 2 of my buddies. I don't know why, but for some reason, I think we're going to get attacked tonight. It's just been too quiet. The other day, we were running a patrol, and one of my buddies stepped on a mine. He blew himself up, and the man in front of him, and the man behind him. They were all hurt pretty bad, but they will all live. I was then made a gunner to carry their gun. We hadn't gone about 500 meters when we received sniper fire. My aide gunner, myself, and the sergeant ran to an empty foxhole and jumped in. I started to return fire, but my machine gun jammed. My aide gunner raised up to fire back and was shot twice in the left arm and once in the stomach. So far, I have been lucky. Out of all the men I have seen shot, none of them have been killed. I only have 12 more months in this hellhole. I plan on being able to save about $2,000 over here. When I get back, I'm going to buy a new BSA and a good used car. Well, I have to be going now. It is so dark, I can hardly see to write. Your pal, Robert. Even though Robert and I never met, I still feel a connection because of our service in Vietnam and our mutual love for our country. Thank you, PFC Burke. You made your fellow Marines, family, friends, and community proud of your bravery, gallant actions, and service to your country. We will never and ever be grateful for your service. Thank you.
this time, we will hear remarks from Seth Floyd, Post Commander, Piatt County Veterans of Foreign Wars, Post 5346.
Please join me in standing if you're able, reading a Medal of Honor citation. Attention to orders. The President of the United States of America, authorized by Act of Congress, March 3rd, 1863, has awarded in the name of Congress the Medal of Honor to PFC Robert C. Burke, United States Marine Corps, for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty for service as a machine gunner with Company I. While in Operation Allenbrook, Company I was approaching a dry riverbed with a heavily wooded tree line that borders the hamlet of Les Nam. They suddenly came upon intense mortar, rocket-propelled grenade, automatic weapons, and small arms fire from a large, well-concealed enemy force which halted the company's advance and wounded several Marines. Realizing the key points of resistance had to be eliminated to allow the units to advance and the casualties to be evacuated, PFC Burke, without hesitation, seized his machine gun and launched a series of one-man assaults against the fortified emplacements. As he aggressively maneuvered to the edge of the steep riverbank, he delivered accurate, suppressive fire upon several enemy bunkers, which enabled his comrades to advance and moved the wounded Marines to positions of relative safety. As he continued his combative actions, he located an opposing automatic weapons emplacement and poured intense fire into the position, killing 3 North Vietnamese soldiers as they attempted to flee. PFC Burke then fearlessly moved from one position to another, quelling the hostile fire until his weapon malfunctioned. Obtaining a casualty's rifle and hand grenades, he advanced further into the midst of enemy fire in an assault against another pocket of resistance, killing 2 more of the enemy. Observing that a fellow Marine had cleared his malfunctioning machine gun, he grasped his weapon and moved into a dangerously exposed area and saturated the hostile tree line until he fell mortally wounded. PFC Burke's gallant actions upheld the highest traditions of the Marine Corps, the U.S. Naval Service. He gallantly gave his life for his country. Signed, Richard M. Nixon, President. You may be seated.
Frederick Curtis Stubbe, E4 Corporal Squad Leader, 3rd Battalion, 27th Marine Regiment, 5th Marine Division, Operation Allenbrook, Republic of Vietnam, will speak to us now.
Good morning, Monticello. Attention, listen up, at ease. We know about PFC Robert Charles Burke. I was with him. I had met him a couple of times and talked to him. He was the youngest, 18 years old, when he was killed in Vietnam as a Medal of Honor recipient. Now, there's history that has never been actually told about Burke, me, and the 27th Marine Regiment that needs to be told to you today. And the family has asked me to tell them. In Nam, we did not call each other Fred, Robert, this, that. You were either Burke, Stubbe, PFC Burke, Corporal Stubbe, that was it. So, on the 13th of February of the 27th Marine Regiment of the 5th Marine Division was called up for the Tet of fencing of 68. Now, 1st Battalion was in Hawaii. 2nd and 3rd were being formed up at Camp Pendleton and Camp Margarita. They went all over Camp Pendleton, gathering Marines from everywhere. 1 and 2 got the first choice. 3rd Battalion, they say, got the leftover. We had so many different MOSs you could shake a stick at. We had all kinds of MOSs. And PFC Burke was a motor team mechanic. As you got up there, they said, they read your name, 227, 327. I went to 3, he went to 3. They said, Burke, you're a gunner. Here's your gun, M60 machine gun. Remember this, every Marine is always a rifle. So, with that being said and done, we had the 13th, now listen to this is very important. The 13th, the 14th, the 15th, and the 16th. 2 battalions. Most of it didn't know each other. Rifle range, squad tactics, repel, jump out of helicopter, that's all we could do real quick. Then, we were taken up to El Toro Marine Corps Air Station. But before that, now listen, before that, there was word that 327 was cooks, bakers, and candlestick makers. And we were misfits, some of us called it. No. So we went to El Toro. President Johnson flew in, gave us a pep talk. We were in the hangars waiting. They had planes stacked up, gear loaded. We got on the planes. We flew from El Toro to either Wake or Guam and straight into Da Nang on the 17th. When we got off the planes, our gear loaded on the 6x, headed south, southwest, to Kaha, a base that the 5th Marine Regiment had a battalion. They were up fighting in Way City. It was bad. So we went into Kaha, and that's where we got to know each other. Patrols, ambushes. We had primary objectives. In the morning, mine sweep to the left, there's a 2-cal bridge to the right to Da Nang. We had patrols go out the gate. You had to go to the right, Booby Tramp Alley, into the Riviera, they called it. And in the Riviera, there were more mines, booby traps, and surprise firing devices that was ever known. Westmoreland sent an Army major up there because we took so many casualties and said, and he reported, it was the worst. Then we would swing right to the south of us, behind us. They had a leprechaun with guns. And I think there was some nurses in there and all that. But they were always in there, VC, NVA. You had to watch yourself. And when you swung out, then you had missions out to the right, and then up to the 2-cal bridge. The 2-cal bridge was where the trucks would run across and supply the other Marine units. It was a free fire zone, guarded by a platoon. They wanted to blow it up all the time, and we stopped. Now, Burke went through all that. I know it. I did. He did. We all did. And he survived. He survived. And I was so proud. Him and a lot of others didn't get hurt. I was attached to every line company there was. But anyway, this is now where we get into Operation Allenbrook. On the 12th of May, Lieutenant Castillo called me and another squad leader and said, your squad's 81s are attached to India Company, Captain Ralph, in support to help them if they make heavy combat. I said, yes, sir. That was my second tour, so I know what thought I knew what I was doing. But anyway, so, on the 13th, we mounted out on chopper, flew out to a hill, and the 7th Marines had been on Operation Allenbrook before. They moved out, we went in, we were briefed. Lieutenant Colonel Barnard, listen to this, Lieutenant Colonel Barnard, Battalion Commander of the 3rd Battalion, 7th Marines. He had Alpha Company 1-7, Golf Company 2-7, and India Company 327. None of his own rifle company. Unheard of. We took casualties that day.
You guys can use this wheelchair
Now,
to get her up
we went
there.
off the mountain on 14.
Do you want a wheelchair?
Crossed the river. Gonoy is an island, surrounded by river. It's an island. You had to cross the river to get in there. You got in there, and I'll never forget, when I got on there, I said, damn, they had dropped chew-white notices telling the Vietnamese to Didi-Mao. That means, get out. Americans are coming. That was bad. So then, on the 15th, we had made some scandal. On the 15th of May, I turned 21 years old. To this day, I never celebrate my birthday or annual because of what happened next. We made a little comment. On the 16th, Golf 2-7 ran head into the NBA, a heavy force. They took bukus of casualties. India Company, we came up and we took casualties. KIAs, WIAs. That afternoon, after it was all said and done, we're waiting the last chopper to fly out of bed. And they told us, dig in, prepare for a counterattack. So we did. We were going to get ready for them, little people. Next thing that happened, it was dark. I mean, dark. You couldn't see nothing. Word come out, rain, grab your gear, saddle up, we're moving out. We moved out in dark. And we went and crossed the river on the other side, and it was like we were on line. Company. Barnard put India Company on point the next day. Now, we were supposed to leave on the 18th. That was all we were supposed to be there. Sure. But on the 18th, we had 4 objectives. And I'll tell you, they talked about it. The first, when the first platoon got over there, they caught NVA soldiers and NVA women nurses. That ought to tell you something. This is not a small force. Made contact, we got them. Went on to the second village. Made some more contact. I captured 3 VC. I'm not VC. Vietnamese. They were VC. But I left them with the next company. Captain Ralph said, come on, we moved. So, while we were there, it was on the hill, and we had to go down. Now think of this, we had to go down through elephant grass. Anybody ever heard of elephant grass? It cuts you to pieces. Staggered, first platoon, second, third. As they got into the bill, they made contact. out and they swung south. Out there was an open field, deliberate. They planted little bitty trees, no cover. Got it? So, first platoon swung, like he said about the river. I had a map and compass because I couldn't call in anything. I'd been trained. They crossed the burn down through, it was supposed to be a river, but it wasn't the monsoons. It was a small creek then. Up on top, and that's when all hell broke loose. Now they can talk about what they said. There were 51 caliber machine guns there that opened up on them. Chinese, Russian machine guns. They had brand new AK-47, SKS. They had so many damn snipers in the trees that were shooting at everybody. They had spider holes, tunnels. They had fortified concrete bunkers, mortars, rockets. They even had some anti-aircraft stuff. Now what's that tell you? This is not a small force. So, as it went on, we were taking bukus of cattle. And I do know that I got word on my radio operator ran up to me and said, Steve, CO's down. 2 LTs are down. They've been killed. Chain of command, what the hell they had that. Real quick. You're talking about chaos, mass confusion. But you know what saved us? Our Marine training. Every Marine takes care of every other Marine. So we bonded together. And as that was going on, we ran out of water. We ran out of ammo, some of us. We ran out of medical supplies. We had so many wounded and dead. The 2 companies that were going to help us, they beat him out, one left, one right, opened up the door, and the North surrounded them. 140-something Marines. So what do? One young kid, a teenager, from Monticello, Illinois, took it upon himself. His squad leader and the men kept saying, Burke, don't go, don't go. He's the one that went down the bed, up on the other side, and attacked fortified concrete bunkers, knocking them out. Oh, what he did is, he took the pressure off of us so we could gather the wounded and some dead out of fire. You understand? He did that for us until he fatally was killed. Now, I had crawled up and I could see his helmet. And I could see him fire. I could hear it. But he did that on his own initiative because he was determined to take the war to the enemy and protect the Marines he served with. Now, when that was all said and done, we continued to fight Indian country. That day, that night, gunships were flying all around, jets were dropping 500-pound bombs, 105, 155, HE, white phosphorus. We had all that going on, and the last thing that really hurt me, it hurt me to this day. I was told, cut a path for a chopper to resupply and get our wounded. I did. Got on the horn and said, we're ready. I said, I'm fixing to pop smoke. They said, no. We ain't coming in. You're gonna have to hold out. You know what that means? No water? Run out of ammo, most of us? No medical insurance? Bandaging Marines? Corpsmen are all messed up. Now we fought all that day and that night until 327, the rest of the regiment, battalion, come in. And battalion. And I'm gonna tell you, you think this is hot? Oh, this is a cold spell. I mean, I need to get my Dark-Storm overcoat on. This is a cold spell. The weather there was in the 120 something. And the humidity was so high, you could not breathe. You couldn't breathe. We suffered 100% casualties. Gunshot, shrapnel, burns, heat stroke, heat exhaustion, malaria, someone caught malaria, and all kinds of other diseases. Dysentery, diarrhea, the whole 9 yards. The company was defunct. 100% casualties in one day. But listen, because of what Burke did, and the rest of us getting that spirit and following his attitude, the ground that we took, our platoon took on that morning, 7 feet, but we held on the 18. We didn't surrender, we didn't give up, we held. Now, I'm telling you all that because I was there. I should have died. Many times I wished I had died with them because they were my family. Now, I want to tell you that because of all that, 3rd Battalion, 27th Marine, were the last Marine battalion in Vietnam, the first out, only 7 months in contract. And I do know that, just a minute, bear with this old man. I'm 82 years old, I'm still living, okay? Now, these are my memories. There's other memories from the other guys. You understand? Everybody got your own. These are mine. Now, as we said enough, ain't no thing. But I'm standing here today. Right here is PFC Robert Charles Burke, Congressional Medal of Honor recipient. And I'm holding his hand. And I'm telling you that we was both tell you that day and that tour, enough. There were no race, creed, color, religion, or origin. We were all Marines, brothers, bonded together until eternity. Right, Robert? And I also want to tell you that we all wore green and was led red. And because of all that, all I can say is to you all here, I'm from Monticello, forgive me, but to y'all, I am so proud that I was invited to give you my memories of what happened. And I had talked to Robert a couple of times. I got them over and over. We all did. So, Robert Charles Burke, Congressional Medal of Honor recipient, I salute you. Semper Fi.
At this time, I call on Marilyn Burke Spurlock, sister of Robert Burke, for remarks.
I've been asked to tell you a little bit about the Burke family and to introduce the Burke family that is here. And so, our parents were each married once before, and my father had 3 sons, and my mother had a son and a daughter. Then, when they got married, they had an additional 8 children. Okay. And we are the part of the 8 that's here today, okay? And so and some of them may not be able to stand, just raise your hand if you don't mind. And so we'll start out with the oldest, Raymond. And then Phyllis, there. Then Barbara, who is deceased. And then Tom, he's not here. Robert, myself, and John. And then Carolyn. We were raised, we lived in the country, and our father was a self-employed let me start this over here again. We lived in the country. We had a huge garden that we took care of, and we also had a little bit of livestock. And between the garden and the livestock, we had a really nutritious meals, and we were well taken care of, and we never really went without anything that was not a necessity. Robert had a BB gun, and he also had a slingshot, and he loved to play with those things, and he would take tin cans and put them on the fence post and take his BB gun or the slingshot, and he would shoot them. And he had a lot of fun doing that. As kids, we liked to play games outside with kick the can, tag, and other miscellaneous things. Our father, who was self-employed, worked hard and provided for us. During the summer months, Robert worked for our father, helping him to build fence along with Raymond there, and he was able to save money. He was able to save up his money, and eventually he bought himself a brand new shiny red Schwinn bike, and that gave him some independence that he had not had before. And so I have kind of a funny little story, and that is that one day he rode his bike into Monticello, because we just lived about 2.5 miles west of here. He rode his bike into Monticello, met up with a friend of his, and prior to that meeting, one of them had acquired a megaphone. And so they went up on the square, climbed a tree, and made themselves comfortable, and there they would tell people that they were going the wrong way on a one-way street, or they were going too fast. And they were having a great time doing that until they weren't, you know. So they got in a little bit of trouble over that, but not bad. But he was a practical joker. He loved to play tricks and games and things on people. And he loved to do that to my poor mom. She was sometimes the blunt of what he was up to. So, but anyway, for the longest time he wanted to become a Marine. And he would say, the Marines are the best. They're the best, and I'm going to become a Marine. And finally that day came, and he did become a Marine. And he was so proud of that. He came home on leave, and while he was on leave, he put on his dress blues, went into the high school here in Monticello, and walked the corridors of the school just as proud as could be over the fact that he was a Marine. And I was certainly proud, and so was all of his brothers and sisters proud of him too. And so he was 18 years, 6 months, and 10 days old. There is a barracks in Quantico, Virginia that's named after him. There is a large classroom in San Diego that is also named after him. And there's other miscellaneous things, but the one thing that to me is probably the most important and meaningful to me is the fact that this park is named after him. This is where we came and played as children. There was a pavilion up on the hill. There was a pavilion up on the hill, and there was swings and a slide and stuff just off to the left of that. And we used to come here and play as children, and I am very honored, very touched that the city decided to name this after Robert. I know that he is smiling in heaven, knowing that his friends have remembered him. And so I want to thank you all for coming. So I want to thank you all for coming. I want to make sure that you notice that the bicycle racks over here, they fixed those. They did those at the high school here. I was so impressed with them and so happy that they did that. And there's other things around here too. There's a monument up on the courthouse lawn, and there's all of his medals and things are on display in the courthouse. And I invite you to go see those sometime whenever it's convenient for you. And I'm not quite sure what happens after this, but I want to thank all of you for bearing with us in this heat. And we'll try and get this wrapped up here before too long, so thank you.
Just before the end, I'd like to recognize two people that are up on the stage here. First would be Sally Turner, State Senator, 44th District. She's our State Senator. Sally, would you stand? And I would also like to recognize Major Alex Irian, United States Marine Corps Commanding Officer, Marine Recruiting Station, St. Louis, Missouri. At this time, we will have taps and a 3-volley salute. If you're able, please stand.